Okay, in this video you will be shown how to make this crossbow from popsicle sticks, hacksaw blades, a guitar string and a big paper clip. Okay, and this is what you will need. Some hacksaws, about 5 or 7. Don't get the cheap ones, they're crap. Get the more expensive ones. Some files, X-Acto knife, some sandpaper, a big hacksaw, some pliers, a ruler, a pen, some rubber bands, 2 drills, one 1.5 millimeter and one 2.5 millimeter. Some guitar string. I prefer to use the nylon, but I've ran out. Cordless drill, some glue, wood glue, of course some popsicle sticks. I used about 25, but this is all I have left. And some kind of curtain hook. This is for the trigger. You can also use a big paper clip. Some sticks for the arrows. And if you have one, a Dremel, but it's not really necessary. First we will be making the top popsicle stick, the one with the groove in. And what you need is a hacksaw, piece of sandpaper and some kind of workbench. Put the hacksaw in like this. Center out your popsicle stick. Make sure you put even pressure. And now that you have a groove, sure you can see that. But now it's still not wide enough for the arrow, so I need to sand it down a little. Put your piece of sandpaper on your hacksaw. And now your groove is wide enough for the stick. Okay, now we will glue 3 popsicle sticks together. Make sure you pick nice and straight ones. Take some rubber bands. Tighter the better. Okay, now that the glue is dry, you can remove the rubber bands. Take your ruler, put a stripe on approximately 1.5 centimeters, and take your hacksaw and cut off the tip. Make it as straight as possible. Okay, now take one stick, put a line on 3.5 centimeters, cut it off. This will become this part. But now take your wood glue, glue on the top with the groove in, this one. And glue on this one. Now take your rubber bands again. Nice and tight. Okay, now that the glue is dry, you can remove the rubber bands. Now we will have to drill the holes for the trigger. So put a line on 2.5 centimeters. Okay, this is the tricky part. If you do this wrong, you can start over again. It's a 1.5 millimeter drill. Okay, if you're using a small paper clip, these holes are right, but I'm using a bigger paper clip or a curtain hook, so I will have to drill out these holes with a 2.5mm drill. Okay, now take 3 popsicle sticks and cut them off, 2 at 8 centimeters, and 1 at 7. And I'll glue them together. Okay, while this part is drying, top part, we will be making the trigger. And I use this curtain hook, but you can also use a big paper clip. First straighten it out. Cut it off at about 3 centimeters. Make sure you round off the edges with a file. And the trigger will have to look something like this. And this bend is pretty important. because it will make the trigger go down. If your trigger is too loose and falls out, just bend it open a little. We will be making the spring. Don't get the cheap ones, they will just bend. Get the more expensive hacksaws, and I use this brand. You pull out the pins. If they won't come out, you can tap them out with a hammer. As you can see, I drilled out 2 of the 3 15 centimeter or full length hacksaws with a 2.5mm drill. And this is for a better lifespan for your guitar string. This one I cut off the end, and I will cut these ends off too. Oops. This is quite dangerous because these things fly off, so be careful. Okay, now that that's done, I will cut off one at 11 centimeters. And the other one at 9 centimeters. Okay, first you tape off the 3 long ones and make sure your small hole is on top. Yes, that's the big hole. And I've measured them all out so they have a stripe in the middle. And there you go. Okay, and now put your guitar string in your spring. Voila. I forgot to say, you should leave enough room between the tape so the popsicle stick can fit between it. First test. Let's see how it shoots. Okay, now that the glue is set, remove the rubber bands. File this part down a little. And you can check if your arrows fit in and if they stay in. So this is right. Make sure you leave a little bit of room behind the trigger so your string can get behind. Okay, now we'll be gluing this. Okay, now that this part is glued on, you still have your rubber bands on, we will be sketching the design. First, the trigger guard. Make sure you have enough room for your finger to go before the trigger. And leave a little room at the back. There you have your basic design. Well, as you can see with the original design, I left this gap here, but I'm thinking of grinding this down, making this one flat too, and just glue them together like that. This looks better. Okay, so I took my hacksaw, sawed it off. Okay, and from now on it's pretty straightforward. Just take your popsicle sticks, put a line on it where you want to cut it. And I recommend you glue this in steps and not cut all your length at once and try to glue it at once. So this part is dry now, so we can glue in the next part. Well, this one wasn't a full length popsicle stick, so I cut it off and rounded the edges. Well, I did some off-camera sanding just to make it look a little smoother. Okay, now we'll be gluing the spring in. I will use this glue, all-purpose glue, because if you use your wood glue it has water in it, so it could rust your spring. You don't want that. Okay, well, it's basically done now, but I will be making the handle because it looks cool. I will be doing that off camera. Well, this is the pool weight. I've rigged it up like this. I have my weight gauge. It's on kilograms now. So it's around 2 kilograms. This is pound LBS. Around 5 pounds.